Do we now?
We
Good morning.
now we have volume
Good
again.
morning.
Good morning. We were talking about the gift of waking up joyful.
Do you possess that gift? Do you wake up joyful? John wakes up with a song in his heart.
Yeah, for like this morning I went to press snooze because I'm sometimes I think I'm better at getting up than I do. Like, you pump my tires. You're like, you're a morning person. I'm not. You're like, you're the best thing that happens to the morning. And the reality is it's not as easy as I like to think. So I actually set an alarm clock last week because I wasn't getting up properly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I set my alarm clock and then I went to press snooze, but I heard a thump. So then it motivated me to get up. So I got up and then I was like, yeah, I'm up. I'll go do my workout.
Did you go investigate our house and make sure that we were all safe?
We were
I love
at 6 in the morning, 6:07. We were as safe as anybody could be in a house.
That.
It is minus 27 outside, and so we need to hibernate today. Yeah, so I do wake up in try to be in a state of joy or peace or whatever, more joy. But my mind can quickly spin. And so I like how you've been getting up. And then I kind of realize how it's not easy to get up and motivate, like to get working out and doing the thing. So I kind of like enjoy that because I see your struggle and then I have the same struggle. So we're not like, I don't think I'm just like naturally abilitied to morning. Did that make sense? I know what I'm trying to say. Like,
what about you? Do you wake up well in the morning?
Are you a morning person? Whatever that means. I know that I didn't used to be a morning person. I used to dread it because in my addiction, I would oftentimes wake up a little bit inebriated. And so I was always in a state of tension because I'm withdrawing. So I kind of want more, but then I'm sick at the same time. And then the anxiety of people smelling my breath and going to work. And oh my goodness, like,
sounds awful.
So on this side of the grave, it's a much. I have a lot more reason to be peaceful.
I wake up. Mornings are easier now that I go to bed earlier. I don't keep my cell phone in my room. I get off my phone at 9 o'clock. Don't keep my phone in my room and get to bed. What time do we go to bed? Usually between 10 and 11.
Yeah.
It's easy. And I just want is easier. I still am very begrudging every morning. Every morning, my brain says, ugh.
That's self-pity.
I know.
Do you wake up with self-pity? I just want to tell people and confess a victory already this early in the year that I have read a book already this year. I have read, what do you say? It's a book or a novel?
It's a novel.
There a difference?
A novel, yeah.
It's not a comic book. No. It's not a magazine. And is a book a novel, or are they those two different things?
A novel is so a book is the physical object.
Okay.
That has pages with words on it.
Okay.
Right? It's a physical object.
So then a novel is a
spine
kind of book.
And pages. The novel is the type of book. It's a story.
So did I read a novel?
Yeah.
Okay. Fiction. So I read my first book of the year. That's pretty good. And the year's not even over.
If you have been tracking with us, this was a larger conversation last year of John.
It's something that I wanted to challenge myself with.
Yes. Wanting to be a reader.
Yeah. I don't want to be I can read. Okay.
It's not easy for you.
Yeah. But I want to have the practice and the practice and the discipline of reading. So truth be told, the book that I read was actually read to me, which I don't think is cheating. So we both read the same book, although you read it out loud and I listened.
It's like listening to an audiobook.
Is that fair? Is that how we should be reading?
Sure.
I think I am proud that I crushed my first book of the year.
Listening to an audiobook, I think, is the same as reading a physical book almost.
Mm.
You're just using your ears instead of your eyes.
It's so true. Is it the 26th
and your brain.
Today? Yeah, it's the 26th.
My
All right, your read.
All right.
We're going to get into our morning meditation where we take an idea out of a daily reader and talk about it in the life of the codependency and substance abuse. So thank you for joining us on this blistering cold day.
How often we see wives, husbands, and parents come to Al-Anon groups because they have reached a point of desperation over the alcoholic drinking of a family member. When they are told that Al-Anon's purpose is not to bring about sobriety for the alcoholic, but peace of mind and sanity for them, they find it hard to take at first. Gradually, the philosophy penetrates and they see the problem more clearly. Yet once the alcoholic is safely in AA and doing well, they often feel they have it made and Al-Anon becomes unimportant to them. They do not realize they need Al-Anon as a permanent way of life. Today's reminder: Al-Anon is for all of those who are living with an alcoholic, whether actively drinking or sober. Until we realize that and live that thought, we have missed the whole point and purpose of its beneficent philosophy. To those who get the most out of it, it is truly a way of life. Let me never forget how much Al-Anon can do to make me a better person with a richer, fuller life. It gives me the means and the wisdom to serve others, which I must have in order to fulfill myself.
Mm. Very good. It's talking about the gift of desperation.
Oof.
So we come in because we have failed in every attempt as the partner of the substance abusee, and life is out of control. There is such a level of desperation that psychiatry, counseling, jail time, suspended licenses, all of that stuff has never changed the circumstance and the drinking of the alcoholic. And so there's the partner of desperation gets into an Al-Anon, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And then what they're talking about is we really understand that this is for us, because all the 12 steps does is bring us into relationship with God.
Yeah.
And so then they're actually saying, now that the storm has settled, we have this tendency to not need that, which we think is like, well, it was just like taking some medication. But this is a lifetime of a spiritual life. It's a spiritual life, which gives us meaning and purpose that we never had before. It's not about getting our life back on track. It's about getting a new life.
Yeah. And I think that's one thing that 12-step fellowship is intended for, is to continue to show me how to maintain that spiritual way of life.
Mm-hmm.
And so oftentimes we can miss that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's like, here's a bad example, but I was in a cigar club, and so we met every month, and it kind of motivated me to try different cigars and this kind of thing. So a 12-step fellowship actually challenges me in, who am I helping? How many people am I helping? Like, because we're talking about the people that we're helping, our relationship with God, spiritual experiences that we're having. It actually spurs me on in a way that if I didn't go to those meetings, then I would probably just stop smoking cigars, which
that's exactly what
which
happened.
I have.
And that's exactly true. The people, it's hard to ignore the fact that the people that you hang out with have tremendous influence in the decisions that you make in your life. And so if I am going to recovery meetings on a regular basis and hearing recovery talk and recovery material, I'm going to grow in that way.
Yeah.
If I'm going to a cigar club and everyone's talking about their trips to Cuba and their expensive cigars, I might start to build humidors in my basement and want to buy very expensive cigars from all over the place and be talking about going on trips so that I can go look, and this all happened. And,
I think you're talking
can I give another example?
Yeah.
Can I give another example?
Depends.
We were spending time with a group of people maybe 10 years ago who drank expensive scotch. You want to tell that story?
No.
Okay, that's fine.
I didn't drink. But no, I can share that story, because it was a spiritual group of people, but they didn't share my common problem. They didn't share the problem of what alcohol does to me physically and mentally. And so it was a cool group that talked about theology and talked about the Bible, and it was a very spiritual group, but they loved their scotch and their whiskey, which is fine. And then one getaway, in the back of my mind popped the idea that I think smoking a cigar and having, because we have cool ice, the round ice, square ice cubes, like it's very eloquent in a very manly way. And so in my mind popped the idea that I could have one and it would be nice with a cigar, and we would,
It would,
challenge the theological
mhm.
constraints of our minds, and it would be a very powerful experience. And so that's the great obsession that came in my mind, and I actually played it out. Like if somebody challenged me, I would just puff up my chest. I've been to jail a couple times, so I can easily intimidate a pastor. It's like, what do you mean? I'm a new creation. You can't hold me back. Like you're just judging me. I can have this one glass. And so that is, getting away from my fellowship. I can easily be convinced in my head that something that will kill me is just a nice eloquent way to relax, and it's not true.
And what I love about that story is that you came home and said, "Oh, I had this crazy thought. Like, I can't even believe I thought this." And so, and
Yeah, I was open and honest about it because it kind of like scared me, but it's all rooted in fear that I'm not going to be accepted, that I have nothing to offer. And wherever there's fear, there's the ignition of a mental obsession of like, oh, like I could be like them. Oh, I could just do it like this. And I've proved for my life of 15 years of active addiction that I can't do it like I want to do it.
and, and I love Jordan gives the example of Norwex parties for women, and I think that is 100%. The people that we hang out with can have influence, and that's why the direct selling products are so
Mm-mm-mm.
successful, because we invite all our friends to our house. We show them all these products. I used to do those parties all the time.
Yeah, I
I
know.
used
The
to have
Tupperware
Tupperware
part,
parties and
candle
candlelight
parties.
parties, and I'd invite all my friends over and feed them food, and all of a sudden you're convinced to buy a product that you didn't
But then you're
actually
convinced
need.
to actually sell the products, and now you're
Exactly.
doing the, yeah. And
Not
then
that there's anything
next thing
entirely.
you know, you're driving a pink Cadillac because you sold so much makeup. But like, I think the fellowship is that vital to
Mhm,
my stick to itness, my encouragement of within myself of what my primary purpose
mhm,
is.
mhm.
And so I know for me, I do attend online meetings, and then I do listen to speaker meetings in recovery, a certain genre of them, and I listen to spiritual teachers as well.
Can we take 2 minutes and can you talk about
2 minutes.
the difficulty? Whatever. I'm just saying. I know we don't want to draw this out, but we're a recovery community, and so people come to our community and hang out with us and spend time with us. But maybe they aren't staying sober. Maybe they're struggling to stay sober. And I feel like a lot of those people feel like they need to remove themselves, and they're embarrassed, or they have shame, or they feel less than. And that makes my heart hurt, because I'm like, no, we still want you here. Like,
Hmm, hmm,
you're not disqualified just because you haven't figured this thing out yet.
hmm,
It took us a long time, and I wouldn't say that we have it entirely figured out either.
hmm.
And so I just really, yeah, I just wanted to take a minute and just like encourage those people, if you're listening and if you're hanging out with people who are in recovery, and maybe you're looking at them and you're thinking it's so much easier for them and it's hard for me and I'm not like them and I'm failing. Don't believe that message, because that's not true. That's a lie, and that's a lie that actually your addiction will tell you to separate you from
To isolate
the
you, yeah.
people that will be like helpful in your journey.
But one helpful thing is like when I have substances in my body, I have an abnormal reaction. So if you're an alcoholic or addict, that's going to happen. And so the one way to get out of that is go into a treatment center, lock yourself into, a friend's apartment, like get yourself away physically for a couple weeks so
Mhm.
that you're not actually battling the physical part, because the physical part is the acute withdrawal symptoms where your body is screaming for more substances and you actually have no control. Like it's not your choice when you use. So even getting into a 30-day treatment center can actually help separate you from the substance, instead of, I think so many times we're like, I'm just like, I failed, so I'm just going to take this to the nth degree, and I'm just going to get it out of my system. But that's many of us die that way. And
Mhm.
so that's the physical part. So I think that there's guilt and shame involved, but I know that it's easier to reach out instead of dying with a needle in your arm
Mhm.
or dying with an alcohol bottle in a hotel room all by yourself. So if that's you today, just reach out, and we can guide you into getting into a safe place. So the meditation today is really the gift of desperation. Do you have you had that desperation, and then are you continuing into what desperation brought you into, or are you like just resting on our laurels? Today I'm going to actually be talking about that middle of the road solutions at noon. So join us at noon for our LifeLab recovery meeting, and keep the peace, be of good behavior, and we'll see you at noon.